Welcome, family. It is 8 o'clock. Y'all know what time it is. It's time to talk. Again, I want to just make sure that we are, giving thanks to our sponsors. As you saw, RST Automation. Again, if you haven't seen the AIM system or the Pill Pack system, definitely reach out to them so they can give you just a demo of what it can do and how it can help your departments. Want to give a big shout out to, again, Jason Ogis, IMP, Calzura, Pure Processing, everybody that's been a part of this journey. Again, I say thank you. As always, time to talk. What they didn't tell me, still available, still going strong. If you don't have your copy, make sure you pick up your copy, and I'll see you at conference. Yes, it is that time. It is that time. It is that time. I wanted just to take a few minutes just to talk to you about the importance of what's happening right now. As a membership, y'all want to be heard. You want your voices heard. You want to be, represented. So what's happening right now? We have the elections, right? Oh my, elections from March 5th to the 26th, and we're voting on everything. We have this year's nominees for president-elect would be Miss Arlene Bush and Brenda Jan Prudent. Secretary Treasurer, we're looking at Brandon Gant and Ann Kobayashi. And for the board of directors, there's Joseph Avila, Nicholas Day, Timothy Hurtado, Stacy MacArthur, Victoria Ruiz, and Angela Warner. Again, make sure you get out and vote. Make sure you vote. Make sure you vote. Make sure that if you're having problems with your ballot or anything, please make sure you get your email corrected, or make sure that they have the right email on file for you so you can get your ballot. You should have your ballots in your boxes. Make sure you go out and vote. Let your voice be heard. The board is here for you. The board represents you. So the changes that you want to see in the industry, it all starts with that board of directors. That is your voice. Make sure you are heard. Which leads me to, where does this all accumulate? It ends up in HSPA 2024, Las Vegas, April 20th to April 23rd. Make sure you are registered. Make sure you have your rooms. Make sure you are ready to be in the room for all of the great education that will be happening, meeting new networks, and talking to, you'll actually see the board members amongst you. You get to talk to them, ask questions, and just fellowship with everybody HSPA related. You get to see the vendors. If it's your first conference, we got mentors for you. Just a wonderful time to be in Vegas amongst HSPA. So again, make sure you get your ballots cast. Make sure you get registered for the conference. Make sure you're there in the room when all of this stuff happens. Also, still wanted to give a shout out to Beyond Clean. I still got planning my show, but I'm gonna do the Perk and Pack taste testing live. We're gonna do it, and I don't even drink coffee, but I'm gonna see what it's about. We're gonna make sure that we can, let them know that we support what they're doing for the culture as well. For this particular show, as I always do, I'll be wondering, what can I talk about? What can I bring to the people that's different and new? And I was thinking about stuff as we're talking about the change of healthcare in the healthcare space. And, I've had like the nurses on, I've had, directors, managers, and as everybody's given their perspective of what it will look like in future tense, I started thinking about, well, where does that leave us as an industry when it comes down to training, when it comes down to consulting? If we're changing at the pace that we're changing, how's everybody keeping up with what's happening across the industry, whether it be standards, whether it be budget restraints? How are we keeping up? Does our training change to fit what's happening in the world? Yes, there's a basic principle for all sterile processing, And I know that we have to give you time to catch up to the standards, but what happens when you can't immediately? Do you train to the new standard with the old stuff that you're using? Or do you, hey, we need contingency funds, we need to make this happen? When you call these consultants in and they're looking around and saying, hey, this is not up to date, that's not up to date, you need to bring your, department up to this standard. What happens when you don't have those funds? What happens when you're outdated or things are outdated and the standard is changing around you? Those are tough conversations to have, but you need to be having them with the C-suite to make sure that you can give your staff the best things that they can have to accommodate the mission. So as I'm looking around and started thinking about people that I've come into contact with, whether it be conference, whether it be LinkedIn, and a name jumped out at me. He is a trainer in the space. He's a consultant in the space. And I wanted to get his perspective on what he's seeing while he's out there, how things are changing around him, and what he's doing to get these facilities up to the standard, bringing the training to meet what is real world plus what is changing. Um, I looked at it, what he was done in the industry. He's a certified quality improvement associate. He has a master's of healthcare administration. He's also a gold crown holder for HSPA. I've seen him in some of his videos and stuff where he's actually been training hands-on in the different spaces, whether it was decon or whether he was on prep and pack, he's hands-on with the training. And I said, you know what? That is somebody who's keeping up with what's happening. So let me get his perspective on how things have changed, where they're going, and how it will be affecting us in the future. So I reached out to Mr. Dontaye Jones, and ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, can you please welcome Mr. Dontaye Jones to our platform today? What's up, sir? How are you?
How you guys doing?
Doing good, doing
So,
good. Glad that you could join us here.
yes, good
So,
evening.
I know you have a big presence on LinkedIn when you're posting your training and stuff, but for people who are not connected with you and want to know more about you, who is Mr. Dontaye Jones?
That's a good question. So, I'm a person with many hats. I like to look at myself as more of a mentor in a lot of ways. I coordinate a variety of different things from managing day-to-day operations, the sterile processing department, training the youth that's within the area that's interested in sterile processing, and even partnering with some of our local constituents that's in the area of the Delaware Valley. So, in regards to who I am, I like to look at myself as a mentor, but also a leader in the healthcare space, who's also accomplished a lot of things in healthcare, specifically in sterile processing, majority. But I manage accepted technical solutions with two partners,
Yes.
and that consists of our consultant company, which is like one of our legs, and then also our sterile processing training portion of it as well.
And that's what made this, an easy ask, is because you carry two sides to it. Like you're actually training the newer people coming in, and when you're on the other side, you're actually consulting and giving people insight as to how they can improve on their facilities. So I'll just jump right in. For the newer people, and you say youth that may be interested in sterile processing, for them specifically, what are some of the common challenges you find you see them going through when they want to pursue a career in sterile processing?
So one of the common trends I like to say for the youth I've noticed currently and even over recent times is just really staying focused on what they want to accomplish. And a lot of it has to do with the attention span. We have so much information out there nowadays, and with social media, never stopping. And now we have, TikTok, we have Instagram, Facebook, and, we have a number of different, and just variety of applications on our phone. It's hard to kind of, I wouldn't say hard, it's more of a challenge to kind of get the youth to stay focused and see things through all the way. So, and how you do that, you try to meet them on their level. You try to make, whatever you're trying to communicate to them a little more, engaging and fun. Because be honest with you, nobody wants to just hear textbook all day. So, you gotta kind of incorporate some fun to it, and some excitement to it, because their attention span is just not there. So if you don't, give some funny stories, or and include some games or whatnot,
Right.
that make it hands-on and interactive, then a lot of times you start to lose them. You lose their attention. Then you lose you also lose the thrill of wanting to pursue, sterile processing.
I would say it's not just the youth. I have a hard time with some adults on their phones too. So it's not just the youth.
Yes.
Sharon said hello. She's in the chat. She said hello.
Hi, Sharon.
With that being the challenges, and I know you're saying you got to throw some personality into training, and it's just as you say, Harry says I agree. Like, yeah, that is one of the things. That phone, yeah. You could, like you said, social media has made it a little bit challenging when people are connected to their phone most of the time, and now you want them to stop for. I mean, your training sessions are probably 8 hours of book and class plus hands-on.
They range a variety. They can be in 3 hour session increments. They can be hands hour increment sessions. But for most part, they're 3 hour sessions.
So you're asking, teenager, young adult slash social media, people to be off of their phone for three plus hours. That I can see the challenge in that, and just that alone, I can see the challenge there. How about if you're, I heard you say you, so I mean that, do you go out into the community to teach these, or these people that are seeking you out for the training?
These are individuals seeking us out for the training, and then also having we have had previous partnerships with certain high schools for kind of like vocational tech schools, who once the seniors finish high school, they have a trade to go into. So we've had that in the past as well, with youth, kind of trying to find their way, and giving them an opportunity to join a rewarding career in sterile processing. So
Just to touch back on what you said about the phone, Sharon said that TikTok has conditioned us for short-term focus, but has a global reach.
sure.
So yeah, it's kind of hard to compete with, you know, when everybody's that attention span is that you got TikTok after TikTok after TikTok, and it's everybody. It's not even just what's their local. It's like that global reach that she's talking about. You can see whatever you want to see on TikTok, and the Facebooks of Instagrams of the world. Um, Harry says it's not a challenge. It's not a challenge when you're good at engaging the students, and that's what you said. You put like some funny stories, you interact the jokes and stuff in there to make it lively, so that they're not just that. I used to hate those monotone
Mhm.
people that just talk at that one pace, and that's the longest class ever. So it's good to see that you're interjecting and doing things to try to keep it interesting for them. And these are people that you said like are already interested because they came to you for the training.
Correct. Yep.
So you get them trained. Do you also set them up with the hours, or is that a different aspect of your course?
Yeah, we also assist in with placement as well. So we have agreements in place with certain facilities for once they finish whatever program they completed. We help with their provisional. Well, most of the conditions is being provisionally certified, but once they pass the provisional certification, we kind of coordinate the placement for their hours, which a lot of times translates into employment as well for their facilities.
Now, I will say that one of my guests said that they do a whole gambit where they take them from training, paying for the course, the test, everything for that first run. Is that something similar to your course?
There's similarities to it. As far as the actual test itself, we don't include that in the cost and
Okay.
everything. Yeah, but we do offer like some soft skills prior to transitioning from a session with us or sessions with us to employment. So we offer that in addition, and then some of those soft skills also include help with resume, cover letter building, and stuff like that. That's included.
Okay. Um, so you actually teach a course. How is it? How do you keep your course updated with the changes that are happening in the industry? Like sterile processing can change any minute. Things change all the time. How do you keep you and your instructors keep in the know of what's happening in the industry?
So we kind of keep our information updated with just staying abreast with whatever's going on with AMI guidelines updates, or ARN or SGNA. We're all active within sterile processing in our own ways. So with that, we keep our foot on the pedal with whatever's going on, to make sure that the information is not antiquated, and to make sure that it's forward thinking information for everyone as well.
So I like that because I mean, with the changes, and I know people have their training programs and stuff in place, but as things happen, we should be updating the training itself. Just we should be updating the training to match what is happening in the industry. I know that there's a baseline of skill sets that go to sterile processing. We know that you got your decon, you got your prep and pack, your sterilization, your storage, and now with the endoscopy, we have the basics that go with that. But what happens, you know, like I was recently at a facility that only had 2 sinks. And they were like, well, we can't teach the 3 sink method because we only got 2 sinks. That's not true. So that you can still teach it because that's what the standard is. Yes, you
Correct.
may have to adjust some things because that's how your facility is built. But why won't we teach to the standard?
Right. Right.
Um, that's just one of those things. I mean, like when changes happen, we want to make sure that people are there. But you just told me like how you stay up to date and all that stuff. So we know that there's the basic certification and you teach that. Do you talk to them about other certifications as well?
Yeah, I'm an avid for continuing education. So I like to, and so some of the other instructors as well like doing, kind of encourage, don't just stop at the CRCST, go on and get your CIS, your instrument specialist, your certified healthcare leadership certification, your certified endoscope reprocessing certification. And if you feeling good about yourself, you can go later on, go and get your FCS. Write an article and everything and stuff. So, but no, we're avid learners, and we are also avid educators as far as making sure that we provide you with not only the tools to get your CRCST, but also a roadmap as far as how to pursue additional certifications.
Now, in that, I know that a lot of people, I've talked to two sides. There's been two sides of the story. Some facilities incentivize multiple certifications, where some people say we only require the CRCST. In that scenario, how does the ongoing education and training play a role in the advancement of a sterile processing career if somebody's not recognizing all those other certifications?
So and that's when you kind of want to put on like your like your mentor had a little bit, and kind of start to paint the different pictures as far as what you can do once you acquire your additional certifications. While might not see the immediate monetary gain from it, in the medium, what do you mean? Sometimes maybe the short or medium or long term, you may see the benefit from it. So get you, and I started off when I was 19 years old. I'm now 34, and I was 5 years in before I got my first supervisor opportunity. Actually, 5.5 years in before I actually got a supervisor opportunity, and I already had my CHO and my CIS
Okay.
um, 5 years in. So I didn't see any immediate value. However, I had the credentials. I was, taking charge on the floor. The supervisor was on vacation or call out. I said, hey, I'll take the phone. I'll deal with the OR, no problem. Scopes was a big thing as far as scope reprocessing. There was like, who wants to learn how to reprocess flexible scopes? I was like, me, I'll do it. Um, so I took the initiative early on and got the experience, and then with that, I also acquired my certifications along the way. But I didn't see immediate value from it. But later on, those became marketing tools. It's like, hey, not only do I got my CHL, my CIS, I got my CR now as well. I got
Right.
working on my associate's degree and stuff. So that allowed me more, tools as far as when I'm, actively looking for those leadership opportunities, whether it was, internally, because I ended up getting promoted. That's the difference temporarily at the facility I was
Right.
at to as a supervisor, but it took some years before I actually got that supervisor role. But I had that because I still had my credentials. And with the market becoming, ever growing, it's becoming more
Right.
saturated with certified sterile processing professionals. Having just your CRCST and even like your supplemental certifications of your CIS and CR and everything may not be enough, to get that next position. So what are you going to do to stand out? Because at the end of the day, they may be baselines, and
Right.
to do some of these positions. And you see that on some of the job requirements for supervisor roles. Like some of the supervisor roles or managerial roles require all certifications.
All the certification. Right.
You're
Now,
right. So they become a prerequisite, early on, and then so they, if you want to take that leap, a lot of people that's coming up and learning under us, who want to transition to leadership, or even if they want to transition to more like an educator role or something like that. I say get your CRCST, learn the job, get the experience, and then tackle the rest of the certifications, because that they will become a prerequisite later on for a lot of positions. So you want to have those as you venture off into your future career
I
and
got
have
two things.
opportunities.
I got two things for you. One of them is, can you expand on the baseline qualifications that you expound on the baseline qualifications that you mentioned? But we're gonna do that right after this commercial.
Okay.
Those in the know SIPS Consults. SIPS Consults is hiring. Confident, competent, and consistent. Starting as a consultant and a volunteer, SIPS has grown into a dynamic group of stellar sterile processing professionals, offering excellent benefits, 401k, and consultant in training program. We are hiring certified technicians, leads, supervisors, interim managers, educators, coordinators. Apply at recruiting@sipsconsults.com or dial 1-866-615-7977.
I tell everybody this all the time. If you need some help with your facilities and you're looking for, as you saw it, techs, leads, coordinators, supervisors, managers, SIPS consults, give them a call. Let them help you with your staffing needs. Right before the commercial, Dante, a question count. You made a comment about having those baseline qualifications. And one of the viewers wanted you to just talk about that a little bit more. what do you mean by the baseline qualifications?
So baseline qualifications, when I started back in 2012 with sterile processing, a lot of the positions in Pennsylvania, initially it wasn't even certain, a state that requires certification. So a lot of facilities preferred certification. Did a lot of your level 1 trauma teaching academic hospitals later on started to require it. But as as we ventured more into the future, Pennsylvania requires certification. And then higher positions as far as your lead tech roles, your coordinator roles, and supervisory roles, educator roles, and stuff like that. Not only do they require your CRCST or your CBS PD certification, they also require your additional certifications within that realm. And I learned it early on, when I wanted to take that leap into into management. And one of the facilities I ended up landing into, they required everything at the time. They required your CRCST, CHL, CIS. Yep, they required just for a supervisor role. So I was like, well, and at that time I had, I just had my my C. I think I got my CHL first, and got my CIS later. But I didn't have my CIS, so I had to get that before I got that position. So having those baseline qualifications, you want to have whatever whatever in our industry, sterile processing, you want to have whatever the industry requires as far as certifications, at least underneath your belt, if you're trying to make yourself marketable in that field. And then everything else you want to kind of get is usually icing on the cake, but it's because we're so competitive and we're in a capitalist society. You want to get as much paperwork you can behind your name in addition to your experience, if you can. Because it's only going to make your chances a lot easier on that road to whatever position you want to transition into.
Now, you mentioned earlier about like those short attention spans, and we know we live in a society where the gratification has to be instant. How do you convey that message to people? Like, you know what? I know there's no incentive right now. I know you spoke about it a little bit, but I know that there is no incentive right now. But if you go forward and you get this and have this available, you get all these certifications, it will pay off in the end. If we can barely keep them off of their phones for 3 hours, how can we say, hey, I know you got to trust me on this. If you get this certification, it's going to pay off later. That later part, some people don't resonate with that later part. But how do you convey that message to your students?
Well, you kind of connect to those. You kind of connect to the high performers, and then there's the ones in the middle that you got to bring up a little bit. And then, unfortunately, there's the ones the stragglers that's going to need some more support and everything, trying to get to the middle. But the ones who are high performers, you usually just know. They're the ones that are always on time. They're go-getters. They're engaged. They're energetic. They're asking questions, and they're hungry. They want more. So when you have those hungry individuals, and they're showing that they're vested in learning and growing, all right, then you give them you give them the same energy. You say, hey, this is what if you want to become a supervisor, if you want to sit in this chair and be a manager or director, whatever the case may be, you're going to have to buckle down, and you're going to have to grind it through, and you're going to have to grind through through some trials and tribulations, and you're going to have to and during that you're also injecting in the roles to the recipe to success. And that recipe success is going to be some difficulties. There's going to be some how much time are you spending away from your phone? Can you put your phone on reserve? Can you find somewhere quiet for an hour so you can study? Can you give yourself a schedule? We got 7 days a week. Can you not party on the weekends? Listen, can you spend a couple hours every morning when you wake up, and and not put on ESPN or put on music, whatever, and and just lock in to to your material. You gotta kind of instill in them those sacrifices they gotta make along the way if they want to um, make those moves into leadership or education, because it's a lot you can do in sterile processing, and that, and then if sterile process is not for you, then you can use sterile processing as a stepping stone. I tried medical device work. It wasn't for me, and so I transitioned right back to sterile processing. Um, so
You got and so you got Sharon. She says you got to match the energy you desire and want to see more of. Like, if you're putting the onus on the person, you're saying, hey, if you want to do this, then you have to put in a little work. What are
yeah.
you willing to sacrifice to get to that next level?
And we have a saying too. That's exactly, and I'm glad she brought it up. We have a saying. Our motto is, "We will match your energy, but we won't do it for you."
I know that's right. We will match your energy, but we're not doing it for you. You got to do the work yourself. I like that.
Yeah, we'll match your energy, but we're not going to do it for you because, like I said, I mean, it's all about, again, following, knowing the people who are who want to knowing the people who want to work and everything, and you just supporting them and giving them the tools to be successful. And unfortunately, not everyone's going to follow through. But as long as you're giving them the attention and you're giving them the tools and the resources, I myself and my company, we've seen thousands through certification and beyond. We got educators in the field, we got leaders in the field, techs from the East Coast to the down South, Midwest, and West Coast. So, and that took time of growing, learning, and living up to our motto. We're Magic Energy, but we ain't gonna do it for you now.
I find that I'm glad you said that last piece right there, because as crazy as it sounds, I was just not even interviewing, I was going over applications today for a traveler who had your company as the person there. She got her training. And I was just sitting there like, oh, he's going to be on the show tonight. That's just ironic that you are. I'm away in Massachusetts and I'm getting applications from all over. And this person happened to come through, aseptic. And I was like, oh, okay. So he's out here actually putting people in the world that's knowing what they're doing, because she's been traveling for a bit after leaving your program. So that's good to like just see that what you're doing is being resonated and given back tenfold, because she's been on multiple assignments, and I can see that she had a great reference and everything. So you did a good job out there, sir. I appreciate that part. Just switching gears for a quick second. You are seeing a lot of students. You are seeing a lot of stuff with your consulting. Now, but the main focus of this particular season of mine was where we're at in healthcare. Given everything that you've seen, the changes, the students, the different facilities you've gone to, where do you see us as a whole in healthcare right now?
Well, gotta be very mindful how I say this. Oh man. So in regards to what's going on in healthcare, so there's a lot of opportunity.
Right.
A lot of opportunity in sterile processing in our industry in regards to, and I say that I'm trying to be vague as possible, not to upset anyone.
Gotcha.
But there's a lot of opportunity in regards to improvements. A lot of and it starts with, a lot of the times those improvements start from C-suite on down. And it's really, I like to use this phrase, it's just painting a picture and getting them, the C-suite, to understand what we do, and how we do, and how we do the things we do.
Right.
That's the biggest challenge for sterile processing leaders, because a lot of the times, I think I reposted this a week or two ago, maybe. because sterile processing is not a revenue generator on a balance sheet, it doesn't get the same resources as your revenue generator being the operating room, the biggest one, the cash cow.
Right.
Um, and with that, there's a bunch of opportunities because you don't necessarily always have all the resources,
Yeah.
um, to kind of get get over whatever hurdle you may be experiencing, because every SPD has challenges and everything, but it's the SPDs that are successful that have the backing and the support from the C-suite to understand, you know, the understand what sterile processing do and the value that they add, um, to healthcare. Because without SPD, if you don't have the hospital shuts down. Especially if you're backed by CMS, they're not going to, they're shutting you down. If you don't have any, if you're failing all your site visits and everything. So I would say, like, just being out, just doing jobs as a consultant and everything, is just really kind of paint that picture to make an administration know, um, you know, these are your pain points. This is what you need to address, if you want to see physician retention, if you want to see staff retention. It's kind of like a whole circle. You got staffing issues, you got quality issues, you got
Right.
production issues. With the staffing portion, you got retention. So, and then all of those issues they're usually connected to each other. It's like a web. So in order to improve those areas, you really need C-suite to kind of understand the process. Understand the processes that go into place to reprocess an entire tray. Um, you know, Walk them through. And this worked at a couple of facilities I did jobs at. I was like, hey, in one of those facilities, the CEO was a surgeon, and he had no clue what we did. He was an ex-GYN surgeon, and when he actually spent some time, he spent about an hour in SPD. He's like, I had no clue. We had to, take my D&C set and, put it through the wire. I mean, it comes down to decontamination. He's understanding the pre-treatment thing. He said back then, they were just spraying it with just water or whatever. But I was like, no, you got to pre-treatment with enzymatic foam spray or gel, and remove the gross soil and everything from it. I said, that just starts the process of
Right.
contamination. I said, and then you got to break it down. 3 sinks. You got your 3 sink bay right here. You got to break the tray down. And look, I said, my RO tank over here is having issues. I said, we got reverse osmosis water over here. We don't got just utility water. I said, we got to hit it with this. I said, we have ultrasonic over here. He said, you know what this does? He's like, what does that do? I said, fine cleaning right here. Cavitation process. And he was like, well, what the heck is that? I said, you see these transducers right here? That's how the heck. That's like breaking down piece by piece to science, and even taking him to the clean side and showing him how to inspect his scissors he was using, and how to, that portion, and then to package it. I said, we got different packaging, we got wraps, rigid containers, pill packs. Him spending that hour and some change changed his whole trajectory to the point where, they were making, I think 17, $18 an hour. About a month later, he bumped them all the way up $8 to $9 an hour after he met with the board of directors and everything. And he thanked me, wrote me a letter thanking me for showing him, what SPD does and the value that it brings. Because he was, like I said, he was a GYN surgeon, and he said he would just wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, get his coffee, get a little breakfast, and ride to the hospital, get ready, look at his OR schedule for the day, meet with his team, scrub in for his case, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
You know,
Stuff
it's,
is right.
it's amazing to me, and I still hear this now. It's amazing that people don't know what happens in sterile processing.
Yeah.
I've come to understand it now, but the first time I heard it, I couldn't fathom, like, how don't you know how you get these sets back? And you're right. Some doctors have no clue of the process that it takes to get one tray done. Like I literally just had this conversation with somebody about Da Vinci arms, like the process it takes just to reprocess one
Just one arm. Yeah, just
right.
one arm.
And they were like, it's really that long? I was like, yeah, the IFU spells it out. You have to soak it for this long. You have to rinse it for this long. You have to put it in the static for this long. You have to do all of these little steps before it even goes in the washer. And they were like, well, what if you needed one turned over? That's not an easy, fast process. So that's what I said. When people don't understand IFUs and how that process plays a part in just your everyday activity. So that's amazing that, and I was going to lead to that, but you said you did it. Does those walks down the SBD by the C-suite, infection control, surgical services, does that walk add value to y'all conversations? Because now they see what you've done. Now when you have that conversation about turnover, about we need more sets, now they can kind of understand you a little better because they know what that process is.
Yeah, so it's worked at some places we've done jobs at, but then there's some that they just don't want to. They honestly don't want to hear it. They like, oh, it's we did a benchmark already. We benchmarked with this facility, and we look like we're doing the right thing. And it's like, well, we don't really have objective data as far as how we measure sterile processing. So just because you benchmark with another facility, their data may not be even correct. So you really need to own your organization and own your department and spend a little time and understand the labor that goes into what you're doing. Because, at the end of the day, a lot of C-suite people, especially the finance ones, they got MBAs and stuff like that. They know finances, but you don't know the labor that actually goes into what these departments do. And because you're not knowing the labor that goes into it, how can you accurately measure a department if you don't understand the throughput for one, or you don't understand not only the throughput, but understand just even the staff that needs to go inside of the department. So it's mind-boggling when you think about it. It's like, all right, so you're in control of all these departments, and you're basing a lot of your decisions based off just benchmarking other facilities and other organizations, without actually knowing a lot of these departments, how they actually function.
That was gonna be one of my next questions. Like, you do your assessment, you give them everything they need. How does that conversation go when you're having to talk to the CFO? Like, hey, they're gonna need some new washers. They're gonna need a sterilizer. They're gonna need, these things, and they're like, hey, it ain't budget time. What do you mean? What do you mean they need these things? And they're like, you said, benchmarking, we're fine.
Yeah, so I mean, it's all about the approach. You want to kind of give gentle suggestions and gentle recommendations, and they're always straight by the book, AAMI guidelines, reference page, line by line. This is what you need. This is where you're at. This is where you need to be, and and it's broken down to every single section. The prep and pack section, sterilization section, decontamination section, if they have a case cart, operation case carts, if they do flexible endoscopes, line by line, this is where you're at, this is where you need to be, and here's the references that go along with it. Because this it's not the gospel of me. These are the guidelines, these are the standards, and this is it. And then giving them a summary in regards to a digestible summary,
right?
In regards to, because you also want to speak in layman terms so they understand. Because we're a technical industry, so you don't want to throw a bunch of jargon in there, and they're still like, "What the heck are you talking about?" So you want to make it in layman terms so they can understand, where they need to go, and then you give here's your 300-page document, and these are the recommendations on this page and everything. Well, this is the summary right here, and this is recommendations right here, and so forth.
So, given that you've seen several different facilities, you've trained thousands of people, the new wave of worry that comes across our industry has to deal with AI. Where do you see either AI taking us, or is it one of the things that we may not, it's a hot topic now, but it may not hit to the way that people think it's going to hit?
Yeah, AI is it's the sexy thing right now. Everyone's all talking about and stuff. So, artificial intelligence is, for the most part, is machine learning and computer visualization. So those are usually like the main branches. But with AI, artificial intelligence, I look at it, and from understanding it, and just from talking to other people within the industry of some of these technical companies, um, I believe it's going to be more of a value add. And I say more of a value add than, because I know there's some reluctancy to adapt it or adopt it, because people fear as though that they're going to lose mass jobs and everything. But and unfortunately, in some cases, that will happen. But in sterile processing, and even like most perioperative services jobs, I think it's going to be more of a value add than actually depleting jobs, because you're still going to need skilled sterile process professionals to manage the systems in place, whether it's a robot or it's a integrated software that goes into your tracking systems that help you identify instruments, or it's another piece of software that detects the defects in your borescope. I mean, not in your borescope, detects defects in your flexible scope. You still need some type of human experience and assistance to kind of facilitate and manage the AI stuff. So I think we're in the infancy stage of AI. I think probably 10 years from now, we'll be probably at the maybe, I don't know, toddler adolescence
Can
stage.
we really say infancy if we have systems like RST that's out there? I know everybody saw the videos that came back from the World Health Organization, that stuff is out there. They have robots wrapping trays. You know, people do have that fear. And again, I'm with you. I do think that it has a place. I don't think it'll be any takeover type thing where there's no human interaction. I don't think that. But how do we get people excited about something that they're so worried about? Because again, you just said it yourself. There's a place, because you may not have to be a skilled laborer versus the front line, because now you have to learn, the technical side. How do you fix the robot? How do you, to say work on the tracking system, or how do you do these other things? How do you get people excited about that, knowing that it may be something that, as you said, take their job?
So you kind of have to articulate the benefits from it, especially if it's going to improve production, in which a lot of these systems are going to improve production, and of course the end result is going to be quality as the byproduct. But you get them excited by like saying, hey, if we can get this robot that assists taking trays from the washer and delivers to your workstation, this may help with the tray captain position that we have on all 3 shifts, and
Right.
it kind of will free them up to now sit and do some trays. So you kind of engage in that way the benefits from using these as I believe value add systems
Yes.
to your team, and to because it's one of those things. And it's going to be it's here and it's not going anywhere.
Right.
And like I said, as we expand further and further into the future, more and more organizations are going to adopt AI systems within their SPDs and ORs and everything. So, articulating the benefit, I think, of these AI systems will kind of get them excited because, who wants if you can now cut back a lifting and pulling and tugging position of trays all day, and now you can spend more time on actually building trays. And if your facility allows your technicians to sit, some facilities don't, but now you can sit down and do trays. So, but
I think efficiency, that productivity, I think those are going to be areas that we see that change. Because you're
oh,
right.
yeah.
If I don't have to go get the tray, I just sit here and just I spend more time on inspection and that kind of stuff. So it's repurposed energy that hey, you don't have to do all these things anymore. So look for the benefit, and that's what I heard you saying. Like they got to look for the benefit of why it's coming into your facility, but it's not there to replace. It's there to help you. And it's still, like I said, that's a hard conversation to get people to buy into. Is that hey, it's not taking your job; it's gonna help you with your job. And some people just don't want to hear that part. Like, nah, once robots come, and I have a couple of skepticals like yourself, like, nah, they're coming to take over. We're not doing the robot thing. But you have some that said it's worth the wait and helping them as well. On that note, I just want to touch back on something just so you could give the people an idea of how that process looks, because I know that some people people offer all the time to come out to facilities and do an assessment, and it's not you saying they're doing something wrong, not that you're coming there to judge, but if somebody calls you out for an assessment or call you out because they about that joint commission window or something, what does that assessment look like? Because I know sometimes people bring whole crews, sometimes it's one or two people. What does you coming into a facility to do an assessment look like?
So good question. It's usually myself, and it may be one or two other people from my team, depending on the scope of the engagement. So, if it's a large 800 bed facility or some 500 bed facility or something like that, maybe myself and a couple others, and we may break it out into segments in a week or 2 weeks. It really depends on what what the facility's looking for. If they're looking for a full assessment along with some project management behind it, and as a project management could be building trays that they just purchase a bulk of their new facility they just opened up, or could be cleaning up the tracking system. We need help with cleaning up our tracking system. So it really depends on the facility and what the needs are.
Yes.
But it's usually it usually starts with an assessment, so we can kind of gather what's going on and everything. Because without the assessment, we don't really know how to attack certain areas and stuff. So that's usually our baseline, our starting point. It's an assessment, and then we kind of bridge off of that.
And out of that assessment, is that where you say you may need an upgrade of sterilizer, or these washers you may need to replace at some point because it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing? You give that in depth, or like you said, if they call you there just for trays, it's trays. But when you do it overall, you're looking at every aspect.
Every crevices. Our assessments are very comprehensive. Some being, like I said, some being 100 pages, 200. We had one almost 1,000 pages. So, we want to give you an assessment and then give you a roadmap on how to achieve those goals. Whether it's, you need renovations. You may just need renovations completely. Your square footage may be off. You may not have enough space to put away containers. You may not, but you have containers on the floor and stuff, or
right.
You may have not enough workstations. Your workstations may be, not enough for your, for the volume of work that you have within your facility. So, we give you the recommendations, and then we also give you ideas on where you can go to kind of get What kind of the idea is to kind of fix some of those areas of opportunities, from capital to operational ones.
So you see that, family, like what he's saying is, at the end of the day, if you feel like you're not getting what you need out of your sterile processing departments, you can call in, get an assessment. They come in, let you know what's working, what you need to upgrade, what you need to improve on, and they provide you with a report that you can then take to the C-suite to say, hey, professionally, this is what we need. This is what we're going to need to get to that next level. And it's kind of that report can get you those dollars from the C-suite, because now you've had it professionally consulted out. And these are somebody outside eyes saying you need these things. It's not you just a normal asset at that point. Now you have the data behind why you need that kind of stuff. And I think that's important for people who are struggling to get those dollars to do it, get an assessment, to somebody to come in just so they can get a second set of eyes on it. So that's an important part. Coming from both spaces, I always ask this question to people who are deeply involved in the sterile processing industry. If you have somebody sitting on the fence right now who's looking at sterile processing and potentially thinking about making that leap into to our side, what advice would you give that person?
It's a good question. I would first, just let them know, like, hey, I mean, it's a rewarding career. It's a thankless profession a lot of times.
Right.
You don't always get the roses and the celebrations and everything. However, it's very impactful on many levels. Because at the end of the day, what we do impacts the lives of everyone. We don't do our job right, physicians can't do their job. And physicians can't do their jobs, they can't treat patients. So, you got to ask yourself, are you ready to enter a industry where, you're not going to get praised all the time? It's going to be hard work, but it's going to be rewarding in many ways. And there's different levels you can take the profession, as far as, being just a technician, or if you want to, venture off in leadership or education, or even medical device. Okay, like I said, it has time in medical device as well. But it's one of those professions that it's going to open up a lot of doors internally and externally as well. So ask yourself, are you ready to take that leap? And if you are ready to take that leap, I can help you make it.
You heard it there. Like that sterile processing can be a segue to other things, but it can also be a rewarding career if you invest in yourself. As he told you earlier, you're going to have to put in some work to get to those different levels. You heard me say he was a gold crown. There's triple crown. There's all different types of levels. But going to the top of that is going to require you to do some work. It's going to require some dedication. And you're going to have to do some, soul searching amongst yourself. Because like you said, when you don't always get the kudos, it does feel like, why am I doing this? But it's, if that's why you're doing it, that you're probably not in the right profession anyway. Because that's one of those things that we don't always get the, hey, you did a good job. You know it when you did something wrong, though. So it's one of those you do have to put some thought into if you're going to come into this business. And as we end this, if you have somebody, because I know you're in a leader space as well, if you have a manager or supervisor or just a tech in general who's, at that point of burnt out as we're relieving this COVID era and they feel like they want to give up, what's an advice that would you give them?
Keep going. Don't give up. And it's funny you asked that, because we're actually at a time where a lot of just leaders that I know from the industry, or some of them are making that transition from out of sterile processing into different spaces and stuff. So, but we need everyone kind of, like, I like to use this phrase, paddling the boat in the same direction. Right. So the more of us there are in leadership roles and who have a voice and stuff like that, we need everyone kind of paddling the boat forward and everything. We don't need anyone stagnant, sitting backstroking. We need everyone moving forward as a unit, because there is a lot of opportunity in sterile processing, and there's areas that, as an industry, we haven't even tapped into yet. So I think if we all can come together collectively as a unit, as sterile processing professionals, I think we can move mountains.
Y'all heard it here today from Dontaye Jones, Aseptic Technical Solutions. Sir, it's been a pleasure. I know that you're doing good work. Like I said, just randomly, a traveler's application ended up on my desk that went through your program. So I know that y'all are touching lives out here, and I applaud you for the work that you're doing on both sides. Like, you're getting young people involved, and you're helping other facilities get to where they need to be. And that's, kudos to you for impacting the industry in such a big way. And I appreciate you taking some time to come in here today and talk with me and the family, sir.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Family, please remember, cast your votes for your board of directors. Make sure you cast your votes. If you want to be heard, you want your voice to matter, that's where it starts at. You elect the board of directors. You elect the board of directors. Those are people that you want to carry your voice forward. So make sure you cast your vote. Again, I'll be in Vegas. I'll be there. Make sure you come up, say hi. You can get to meet the current board of directors in person. I've seen Dontaye at conference. I know that conference is a networking, just thing. Just make sure you're in the room when all of that education and all of these people come together to share stories, share insights, make those connections, and get your network built up. That is what it's for. That is why we're there, to educate and keep our industry going forward. Family, it's been time to talk. Dontaye, I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today. Family, as always, next week, same time, let's do it again. It's been a time to talk. Thank you, sir. I'll see y'all soon.
Scruball is all about celebrating healthcare. If you're in the healthcare field, no matter where you work, we celebrate you.